Hello, I am at Big Rocks Nature Preserve in Mecklenburg County, which is where Charlotte is. So we're just inside North Carolina today. Um, so these big boulders are what are being preserved here. It's pretty cool. They don't discourage you from climbing on them or anything, and they do encourage you to walk around them to see the rocks and all the characteristics of them, so that's pretty cool. They have identified this location as historical importance with the indigenous people, so they have decided that it was used as a campsite, so that's pretty cool. Of course, some people have vandalized it, so that's unfortunate. And all the sound, you can tell we're not far from Charlotte. The highway 485 is straight in front of us there, and we hear airplanes above us. But the rocks are pretty cool. They say they're able to see different spots where they would have taken shelter here, and created fire so that they would have heat coming off the rocks as well. So it's pretty cool. The Historical Commission in Mecklenburg County has a board out front to kind of give a little bit of information, so that's neat, to be able to learn it from their words, since they're the ones protecting it. So they talk about how they expected that these boulders were obviously pretty easily identifiable, so they would serve as a good meeting point for a variety of purposes, but during traveling for journeys, like to meet up here, or just as a good stopping point. Over through there, you can see the water comes through here, and I guess that's always been a reliable water source. So they didn't have to worry about having water. And they could seek protection. So that's another cool thing with the structure of the rocks. They said it would also serve as somewhere to meet in order to settle disputes. So hopefully peaceably, but I don't know. But I also read that there were a lot of tools and other materials that were made out of stone that they found scattered around the area. So they know that it was camped at, is how they understood that. And they're assuming that the people would go up high onto these rocks to keep watch for people that they weren't expecting, but more importantly for food, looking out for deer or raccoons or whatever small animals they might want to hunt. And they would be able to fish. The sign taught about how they expected that they fished making hooks out of bones and using sapling trees for the rods. So it's pretty cool. So now going up to the top of the rock, still be fun, but now you'd be looking out and seeing the houses across the water there. But that's how things change. This is pretty odd how it's like a hole in here in the rock. But definitely some good hideout spots to have protection from the elements. So another cool thing is these are obviously pretty large boulders, and they're identified as the largest exposed granite boulders in the county. So pretty cool looking. This reminds me of like a geode or something that you'd break open and see what's inside. Pretty fun. So it's hard to believe that it is already February 1st. This is my 11th hike of 100, so I'm excited about that. And this hike is a little bit different because I feel like I'm kind of in the city doing it, but in the woods, little bits of woods that have been saved, so that's cool. And it's pretty short. It's a pretty small area, but it would be fantastic to bring kids. I guess maybe not if the kids are too daring and are gonna fall and tumble all over the rocks, but seems like plenty safe little bit of climbing for the kids, so that's awesome. But it's nice to just get out here. February 1st and today feels like it could be the first day of spring. I wish it was. I think it's supposed to drop 15 degrees at least tomorrow. Might have been 20 degrees, so a little cooler, but makes me excited that the warmer weather's on the way and we're having longer days. More sunlight is always appreciated. So just a month ago, about this time, it'd be pretty dark. So I'm happy to be out here today. I never get tired of sights like that and the little sounds they make. Even over all the traffic, I can still hear the water bubbling over the rocks. As I'm walking today, I'm thinking about how perspectives can be so different in the same situation. Because this is a very small nature preserve, but it is a nature preserve. It's a decent size of preserved land. They're not developing it. It's natural, and it is beautiful. It has a lot of really cool natural features to check out. And so, especially for somebody that maybe isn't as used to something like this is just amazing. For someone like me that's going to appreciate any of this that I can get, it's awesome. But for somebody that, lives out in the middle of Colorado in the mountains or something, they might laugh at this a little bit just because of their perspective and where they come from. So the other day, Caleb and I were talking about something that we found we had very different perspectives on. It was the same situation, and we both just saw it completely differently. I hadn't asked him to pick Caden up from running practice, and he didn't offer to pick Caden up from running practice. And so my perspective was that I didn't want to burden him with something when he already had a busy day at work. And his perspective was, because of the way I had said it, I said, I'm going to pick him up, that I didn't want him to do it. And that I wanted to, kind of keep that as my thing that I did. So it was interesting as we talked about it. It's really cool to understand each other better. And the only way to actually understand different perspectives is by sharing those perspectives. You can definitely tell that there's been some change to this terrain through here over the years. A lot of erosion. I wonder how many of these rocks are more newly exposed. That water's moving pretty quickly though. it's fun. I've seen a couple families out here with kids as I'm walking. It's always exciting to me to see parents getting their kids out to do stuff like this, because so many don't anymore, and I feel like kids miss out. Yeah, this water's a lot lower than it once was. When Caden was selling scout cards today, I loved that somebody he asked to buy a card. I said, well, yeah, I'm going to buy a card, but I want you to first share an interesting fact about scouts for me. So you could tell Caden was like kind of running it through his mind, but before he could even start saying anything, she said something again real quickly and said, or what do you really like about it? What's something you really like about Scouts? And so I think that's a really cool way. The what you like shares somebody's perspective. And so he right away said, well, one of my favorite things about Scouts is being outside with friends and doing things out in nature. So that's cool. That's his perspective. This is pretty wild looking here. Let's see. There's some roots right there. But he also had his fun fact ready for her as well. So he continued on sharing about the inventing merit badge that is no longer in existence because it was so difficult to get. So, you know, I just love that she engaged in a conversation that she knew the kid would be interested in engaging with. And I think that just develops conversational skills so much and builds confidence. But I love that he was able to share his perspective with her. So I always love when you can feel unified with a person or a group of people because you share perspectives or opinions. But I also really appreciate when you can share different perspectives with one another. And I think it adds so much more to your own perspective. It develops it. So you know, when people can just share their different perspectives or beliefs based on their experiences, and it's a neat thing when they're respecting one another, and I think, you know, that builds stronger relationships. And it allows us to develop the skills to do that and handle the hard stuff. So I encourage you to not be afraid of your perspective, share it. Also, don't feel stuck to it. New experiences will open your eyes to new things and new conversations, new people. It'll expand where you are. So I say try make a point to find some people that you can share perspectives with and celebrate that, and then also challenge yourself to find some people that you don't share those same perspectives with, to see things in a new way. So, I'll see you next time on the trail with Heart.